Clubhouse gives us an opportunity to kind of talk and connect with other people from around the country, around the world. Another thing is, most social media platforms don't really have an audio component. I mean, yes, many of them have live video and even interactive video, but it tends to be video first, audio second. And lastly, there's just been a lot of celebrities that have appeared on Clubhouse. You know, when I first started using it, Damon John, the People's Shark, had a morning show, he may still, where he would pull in people from the audience. So anybody could end up speaking to him. And then there's been sightings, or at least hearings, I guess, of Oprah and Chris Rock and Drake. So it's like the early days of Twitter where you're not sure who exactly you're going to bump into.
So for people who aren't familiar with it, how do you use it?
The app is only available for iOS, so you have to have an iPhone or an iPad. And to manage the user base, they basically have created a system where you have to be invited in. So the best thing to do is, if you're interested, apply to get in, and hopefully somebody who you know who's already in Clubhouse will see your invitation and say, yeah, let that person in. You're going to enter into something called the hallway, and that's basically like the Facebook newsfeed. So from the hallway, you're going to see a bunch of different rooms, places where conversations are going on that are share interests, like based on what you're interested in, they're going to show you those kind of rooms. And that's kind of the experience. From there, you can enter into any room you want. Maybe it's about real estate, maybe it's about manga, maybe it's about creativity, but you can just, if it's open to the public, you can just walk right in.
So a room is the center of the conversation. What is a room like?
Yeah, so imagine, Rob, back before COVID or after COVID, and you go to these big conferences and there's all these different workshops or discussions you can go into. You see them, you walk in, somebody or maybe several people are on stage having a conversation, doing a presentation, and then there's the audience. So when you go into a room in Clubhouse, you can see the speakers on stage, and then you can also see the audience. And if anybody sparks your interest, you can just click on their profile and immediately be able to learn more about them and even follow them. And if the conversation is interesting and intriguing and you have a question, you can raise your hand, and then the host might invite you up on stage, and then you can ask your question, or you might even get pulled up as a panelist. That's happened to me a couple of times when I've been checking out different rooms.
How does one go about finding a topic that one is interested in? Obviously, there could be a virtually infinite number. How do you zero in on what you want?
Yeah, there are a lot of different topics. So when you first sign up for Clubhouse, they are going to ask you what your interests are. So you do give them a little bit of sense of the kind of things you want. And then over time, you might join clubs, which tend to be groups of people around a certain topic, and then the people who you follow as well. So all that might dictate what rooms you get shown in the hallway, but you can always search for new rooms, new ideas, or click on the explore more, and you'll find just about every room that's currently available.
And say you want to start your own room. Can you do that? And how do you go about it?
Oh, Rob, I'd love to see the room that you start. So if you want to do this, what you need to do is right in the hallway, there's a button that says start a room. You just click on that, and then you can choose, do you want to make your room open to everybody? Do you want to make it available just to your friends on Clubhouse, your connections, or do you want to keep it private? Then you give the room a name, and you can schedule it for right then or in the future. And then your room's ready to go.
Obviously, this has potential to go in all kinds of different directions. How are people generally using Clubhouse?
I think that there's a number of people there who are just using it the way that social media was meant to be used. It's just a place to have conversations and learn new things. For other people, it's about networking and making connections. And then for still another group, it's about building your platform, building your audience, and maybe thinking of it as something to do that's good for your own career or for your business.
And you advise businesses on how to use social media. So what's your take on Clubhouse?
Well, I've yet to advise any of my clients to spend time on Clubhouse, and that may be just because the client base I currently have. But like with anything else, if you're going to spend time on Clubhouse, it's time you can't spend somewhere else. And you need to make sure that your audience is actually there if you're using it for business. So that's a decision everybody's going to need to make for themselves.